Hey everybody, it's Mr. J, also known as Mr. Rage. And before I start the video, I just want to say, I'm not condoning harassment or, death threats against somebody just because they disagree with me. If they're an asshole, though, you can pretty much say whatever the hell you want to them. I feel like, I feel like me just saying don't send death threats is just kind of cringe. I mean, sure, they got the right to feel safe, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You talk shit, you get what's coming to you. Though death threats may be a little over the line. I don't know. Each situation kind of depends, but that's beside the point. So, I was thinking of making this video just mainly to talk about a certain Filipino, artist I mentioned, some time ago in during my Night in the Woods playthrough. I mentioned him like briefly because he made a video that I didn't like. He had a certain take I didn't agree with, and I shared my opinions. And apparently, him and his community like to like I don't know if they're baiting exactly or just like like the troll. I mean, Delphox would know, like they say, we do a little trolling. but yeah. So he made a video about a certain subject. Actually, I'm just gonna say it. He made a video about the Confederacy, the U.S. Confederacy, and for those of you guys who don't already know, I'm a big defender of the U.S. Confederacy. Like, not so much because of the slavery, but because of the fact that that people like me see it as a defiance of the government, and we believe that they were fighting. That while slavery was a big issue within the Confederate government, many of us see them as a defiance against big government, taxation without representation, and centralized government powers. Back then, the states were seen as different countries rather than just small states interconnected. Like nowadays they have their own constitutions, but back then they had more sway in each land. And so yeah. Anyway, this guy he doesn't usually make political takes, but I hear he's pretty active on Twitter. It's not really a place I like to go to at times, mainly because of people like him. People like him who think they're right, they're morally right, and because of that, they can say whatever the hell they want because history will agree with them. They think they can be so smug and act like dickheads and jackasses. Because history will agree with them in the end. Napoleon Bonaparte had something to say about history. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, hang on. Yeah. History is the version of past events that people have decided to agree upon. But that doesn't really make it true. I'm not saying to criticize to. Well, actually, I guess I am kind of saying. Point is you can't always accept one version of history that you're taught. I mean, hell, this goes beyond just the Civil War. I mean, all the way back to the first American Revolution. They were taught that, we were taught in the classrooms that the patriots were all a bunch of brave and honorable men fighting against a tyrannical empire. Fighting to prevent taxation without representation. And that they were all good guys, and the imperialists were the bad guys, and they deserved to lose, and all that crap. Nowadays, I found that there were arguments to be made for both sides, and that not everyone involved was a good person. The atrocities were committed on both sides. Now you can argue whatever the hell you want about imperialism, but the point is, these wars rarely are often black and white. And something And you know something I wanted to point out in his stupid little video. He made a little animation where he makes a where him this booger looking, like, he represents himself with this booger looking dude. I think he actually voices him, by the way. And he's pretty much beating on this little like verbally beating on this little straw man he made. It's like trying to make excuses, sorta, and then he's asking the same question: "States' rights to do what? States' rights to do what?" He's just getting up all in his face. People like this, I really don't want to deal with because they're assholes. They like to smell their own farts and be around people who will suck them off and suck on their teeth to keep them alive. It's like it's like they're sucking on their teats, but at the same time they're also giving something back in this way. It's like some kind of symbiotic relationship in a parasitic way, if that makes sense. Anyway, point is they think they're always right and can never be wrong. At least that's what I'm getting off all this smug, arrogant aura. Like, they think they can do whatever the hell they want. I mean, hell, you look at the Robert E. Lee statue that got taken down, illegally, might I add, by a couple of folks who thought they had the right to do so, even though it wasn't decided legally. I mean, why the hell would you take it down if you thought you were going to win a case? The problem. I mean, you can argue whatever the hell you want about freaking. Well, actually, no, you can't. The whole thing about it is that history isn't black and white. It rarely ever is. And if you try to make any exception for that, you're not teaching history. You're only teaching one side, and that's pretty. And they had positions like that in those days. They call it propagandists. Joseph Goebbels was a propagandist, and he was damn good at his job. And you know what he said? You tell a lie enough times, and people will start to believe it. I feel like that's what's going on here. It's a bastardizing of history, and people like them, as much as they spread it with stuff like this, in the end, I feel like they're victims of this too. They've been taught since grade school, through middle school, through high school, and even through freaking college. They've been taught all these lies, only one side of things and only one skew of things. They're taught to hate themselves if they're white. They're taught to hate their country, their founding fathers. Back in the day, even though a lot of the stuff we didn't that they presented wasn't always true or fully true. The point is that in those days they were trying to instill patriotism. They were trying to make kids feel proud of their country, feel honored. Now they're trying to make them feel like crap, make them try to feel guilty for something that them or their ancestors or someone not even remotely related to them did. It's like telling a white kid that you're somehow responsible for the Holocaust. It ain't right. It's like all this crap is just trying to destroy our freaking country. And people like him, these arrogant assholes like him, are ultimately victims of it. But this isn't just a one-sided issue either. I've seen this whole. I mean, this plays back into the whole us versus them ideology that's being spread by the freaking media, left and right. I mean, you've got conservatives nowadays who simp for Lincoln, who say that the war was fought to end slavery, and the South wanted to keep slavery. I mean, to an extent, that was partly true to where the South was heavily involved in slavery. Like it was mentioned in their Constitution, and you had to be a slave state to join the Confederacy. But there were a number of other issues, like trying to keep the old way of America, which wasn't slavery, might I add. It was right. No taxation without representation, a smaller government, and a smaller military. The Founding Fathers were all about that too. And I'll tell you, there was even a unit of those guys who ended up dressing up as the colonialists who fought in the Revolution, as a way of preserving their heritage, their American heritage. Even simple history won't try to hide that fact. That's something I feel people need to understand. Right, getting back to what I was saying earlier. Yeah, even right wing outlets will try to simp for this crap. I feel like this whole SJWism and anti-SJWism, I feel like it's just two sides of the same damn coin. I mean, even freaking Jeremy from the Quarter, as much as I love that guy and I don't wish him any ill will, but now, I loved his content, and he can make whatever the hell he wants. It's his choice, it's his channel, and I ain't gonna tell him what to do with it. But at the same time, it's just like all he does is make freaking political videos. It's like, OMG, this politician did this. OMG, this politician did that. Trying to destroy America. Trying to wipe away the Constitution. Or, actually, no, that's all true. But, you know, more outlandish stuff. Like Joe Biden craps his... Actually, that's not outlandish either. That's kind of true. What the hell example can I use? Freaking... I don't know. It's like they make these thumbnails with heavy Photoshop, professional looking stuff, and it's like it just fuels this kind of us versus them. I mean, to be fair, a lot of these people involved in these industries are assholes, and probably at least half of them are kitty diddlers. Let's be honest. But what was I gonna say? But this whole thing of like trying to lump every liberal and Democrat and Republican and all this stuff, like trying to lump them into a corner like this on one side or the other is just a really shitty thing to do. And to be honest, it's kind of an asshole-ish thing to do. I mean, I'm not saying that there ain't shit going on from one side or another. Like, you hear a lot of it on the left side. You'll hear climate protesters, throwing soup and cheese and mashed potatoes on paintings or gluing themselves to the road. Then other times you'll have these frickin' rhino Republicans and people vote for them just because they make big promises. And I can't blame these people too much because they've been disenfranchised for years. They've been called everything from albiest or whatever to xylophonist or whatever the hell, like freaking Hillary when she called them all a basket of deplorables. You guys know what I'm talking about here. But that kind of it's like when you trust someone based on what they promise and not their character. When you don't look into their history and stuff like that, oftentimes it ends up propping up these rhinos. And I'm not saying this to try to call anybody out because I've been plenty of guilty of this myself. I mean, hell, there were times when I didn't even vote in the election because in the state elections because I figured they didn't matter. As it turns out, they do. As my good friend Razorfist pointed out, power flows upwards, not downwards. So this stuff really does matter to an extent, at least. Right. Anyway, I feel like a lot of this stuff, this smugness, this aura, I mean, there's a point to mocking people who are just insane and outlandish. People who are assholes, kitty diddlers, pretty much trying to destroy America and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know. It pushes, like, it reinforces the notions on these liberals, these ultra liberals, these ultra Marxists and people like them. People who think they can do whatever they want and that it's justifying because they think they're right. I mean, there's an old saying I like in regards to Civil War. You take down the Confederate flag one day, and the American flag will be next. I mean, if you focus solely on on the Civil War because the Confederates were trying to keep slavery going, and nothing else that was actually involved in it. I mean, to me, like, I don't see why the hell you don't take why you don't take down the founding fathers and their statues with them. They were slave owners. They didn't stop slavery. You know. Now, granted, there were some rumors about Benjamin Franklin, some folks trying to abolish slavery. To be honest, I'm really not too sure about those anymore. That could have been just a load of crap put together by somebody. Whitewashing, revision, and stuff like that. But if you're gonna blast somebody just because they were slave owners and they were trying to continue or didn't try to stop slavery, then I don't see why the hell you would keep them why you would still keep them up. And if you're gonna go that route, then you may as well take out the whole damn Constitution because it was written by racist white men. I mean, I guess I'm pretty guilty of straw manning right here, but the point is, I'm trying to follow this logic to its logical conclusion, and that's the problem I have. You're not teaching history. You're teaching a whitewashed version of it, your version. You think you can do no wrong, and that you're never wrong. History isn't. A lot of this stuff is what people think happened, what people agree happened. It doesn't mean it actually happened. It didn't mean it happened exactly the way they said. And that's what people like. And that's what people like this little Biggest McDickus will never understand. Like, they'll always think that they're right and they can do no wrong. And if you try to speak up against them, they'll call you. They won't shut up about what kind of racist, evil, wicked person you are. And I never bothered to look into whatever the hell he said. Him and his rabid fanboys were saying to me when I commented on his video. I really don't give a shit what he thinks. Honestly, him and his rabid fanboys can go back to sucking each other off. I really do not care, and I really don't want to waste my time with a little prick like him. Like, his art is okay, and he seems decent as a comedian, but honestly, if you're going to try to talk about history, try to get it right, or try to be neutral to one side. And if you just want to make fun of people, you can, that's fine, but expect some kind of freaking backlash. I mean, like I said, maybe death threats are a little bit too far, but, it's all a case-by-case basis, As long as you're not, swatting him or something like that, then that's just too far even for me. But yeah. So anyway, I reckon that's all I had to say. I could probably get into a video talking about, why I actually defend the Confederacy and stuff like that. Well, I guess I kind of already did get into that sort of, but, this is just kind of touching on that. I'll probably make a more detailed video on this later at some point in the future. And, yeah, I wish you guys all the best. Thank you for listening to me doing this. So I pretty much had a whole script dedicated to, like, parodying that freaking asshole's video, but like I said, I don't feel like he deserves that kind of recognition. Like, people like people like him live off of pissing people off and trolling him, and then going around with his rabid fanboys, thinking that just because someone says it, that it means they're right. And I'll tell you, it's easy to feel it's easy to feel defeated when you wind up in that kind of situation. If someone's not willing to debate you in good faith and all they're going to do is insult you, then fuck them, okay? Because it's really not worth wasting your time with these assholes. Anyway, with that, I'm Mr. J, also known as Mr. Rage, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care. God bless, and peace out.